Cool. So,
Yeah.
brief introductions. I'm Guanqi. I did an 80% run earlier, so you may know me for that. But I am pretty experienced with this. I'm pretty happy that Herm decided to. She'd stepped out and let me commentate this because this is a category I'm a really big fan of, and I really enjoy talking about. Um, so it's kind of a treat to get to commentate it here.
Yeah, and Guanqi is being very humble right now, but she's also a world record holder in this category. So it's an honor to have you. It's an honor to have you because to be honest, I don't know a ton about this category, so it's nice to have you with me here.
Yeah, well, Hyper, I'm actually really happy to see Hyper running this. It's really cool. So Hyper's been like an up-and-coming runner for a bit, and their boss fights are absolutely insane.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've had the pleasure of watching Hyper improve from having like, I think like a 120 or something, and seeing them improve to having like I think they have a 106 now. They just, I think, recently got a 106 in training, which is a very solid time. So.
Yeah, Hyper to me is one of those runners whose abilities are far better than his PB would lead you to believe. Like, I think Hyper's movement is pretty good. Like you just mentioned, Guanqi, his boss fights are incredible. So I'm excited to see what kind of run he puts together here.
Yeah, many of his boss fights golds are better than my personal golds, like an enormous amount of them. I think his best Radiance fight is like 6 or 7 seconds faster than mine.
Wow.
Which is pretty funny because I've grinded that fight an enormous amount since you do to get a really good time in that category. So yeah, Hyper is, no one to be overlooked. But that's also the nature of true winning. So this category is very, very volatile. It's really hard to do in a marathon setting because of the fact that it's so easy to die to anything. There is countless fights in this category that can just kill you if you mess up. Radiance topping that all off with a 5 health fight with only Shade Soul, and it deals 2 damage. So you can get hit 3 times and you're dead.
Yeah, so all that being said, whether it's mentality or technical ability, what do you think are really the important things to being a skilled true ending runner?
The biggest thing with true ending is really like not getting tilted, and I've talked to Valley a lot about this, but he'll tell you the same thing. When you run long categories, you have to not let mistakes get to you, because if you let mistakes get to you, it just snowballs and suddenly you just play terrible. Like if you're tilted and you're frustrated about the thing that just happened, but you still have 30 minutes to go in the run, like you're just not going to get anywhere. So you have to really be capable of just letting go of things that happen, the mistakes that happen, and continue to play. And other than that, it's just a lot of consistency and endurance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know especially a lot of runners dislike, a lot of the Dream Warrior RNG in this category.
Oh, yeah, some of it's really bad.
I can imagine.
We'll get a brief hint of that in Elder Who, which comes up fairly early in the run, I think about 14 minutes in.
Nice.
But for now, we're just making our way to False Night. It's the same as any percent. I know we all make that comparison to any percent, but yeah, it's the same as any percent until False Night. But True Ending actually has one of the more unique early games. It's a really fun category for me because of that, and I think that's a big draw to it. Is a lot of their categories have like relatively the same early game in NMG, because like any percent all skills and a lot more go like Vengeful Spirit, and then you get Dash, and then you get Claw. This one actually gets Vengeful Spirit while killing False Knight, and then you get Dash, and then you just skip Claw and go do the Clawless Shade skip.
And my understanding too is we don't really care about getting the city crest here. It's really just that eventually later in the run we'll need to come back and do failed champ for the essence, which is why
exactly.
Here.
And the Geo is really helpful as well. I don't remember how much it is. I think it's 200 that you get from False Knight. It becomes very helpful for later in the run. A lot of the first half of this run, well, not first half, maybe 25 minutes or so, is a lot of Geo collection and just general resource collection to make sure that you have like everything you need to fight the bosses, and then it's just boss rush for the rest of the run.
That was a good fight from Hyper too. I didn't get a chance to point it out, but one thing that true ending runners do really well when they fight False Knight, because we don't have Fury like other categories like 112 or 106. And if you want to do an optimal False Knight fight, you kind of need to tank damage. And I think it's after 9 hits, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gwonky, you intentionally walk into False Knight to take 1 damage, and it lines up the damage tank, so you only take 1 damage instead of 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know the number because I haven't played this in quite a while, but
you probably kind of just do it off of instinct, huh?
Yeah, I just look at when he swings, like back,
Gotcha.
left to right. But yeah, so solid early game for Hyper, despite a couple early slip-ups, missing double spike, and especially with it can be really hard to recover. So a 420 or so VS is pretty solid for
and just knowing Hyper as a person, he'll be the first person to tell you that early game is not his strong suit. But I don't. There's enough variance in this category, and it's long enough where you don't really need a god tier early game to get a good time.
Yeah, this is a super easy category, easy-ish category to do no resets of, because whatever early game you get out of like the start in this category, it does not matter. Like it matters like proportionally less than every other category. Like it's quite a lot.
And 3, 4.
This is quite a 5. Okay, 6 fits. Not exactly what you like to see at the start. But that's how marathons are. I feel like every single time the run is like a showcase, it instantly is just the worst baller RNG ever.
Oh god.
That guy is he just hates marathons. But yeah, I don't know how. I believe that's losing like 8-9 seconds or so.
Yeah, it's like a little over a second per spit, I believe.
Yeah,
so that's rough, man.
That was 5 extra spits. So.
Oh geez. But either way, so from here on, what's the next thing we're really caring about in terms of geo routing? What's the next thing we need to buy that we're collecting geo for here?
So almost all of the geo collection for early game is for a combination of Lumafly Lantern and Elegant Key. Mm-hmm. We do need Shaman Stone coming up pretty soon, but that's not really a geo issue right away because you get so much from the False Knight chest. But we will be getting Moss Knights in Green Path, and that is because you just need a lot of geo for this category.
So we skip Vengefly King, got it?
Yeah, no Vengefly King. We're going to kill Moss Knights, so it's kind of like a... Yeah.
Nice. Well, Green Path going pretty well so far. It's honest. I think Green Path's one of the harder splits that people overlook because I don't know why, but I feel like people overlook how much time save they probably have in this split. Because I know it's early on and we don't have a ton of movement, but there's a lot of technical stuff in this split to save time and otherwise. And I think we just lost the stream. Oh, okay.
We are back. And Hyper has missed the fireball skip, but he got the squip back up, so it is okay.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but yeah, not the end of the world.
Everyone misses fireball skips, even the best of the best.
All right, this is going to start a holy war right here. Which fireball skip do you find the easiest to do?
The second one. Actually, it's tied between the second and the third one because, in my opinion, they're exactly the same.
Yeah. I don't know.
On current patch, the third one is harder. On current patch, the third one is a tighter frame window than the second one for the jump.
I think the hardest one is the first one, the single fireball that we do.
Yeah, 100% the hardest one.
Like this is not even a conversation. Like that's the hardest one.
It depends. On current patch, I don't actually know. You'd have to ask a current patch runner what they think. I don't know how hard the third one is because I don't have a lot of experience there.
Well, that's true because the first one on current patch is different because they don't do the one after the Balder.
Yeah. Okay, so Hyper missed the nail slash on the Moss Knight, but still managed to get the double, so didn't actually lose too much time there. A very nice save.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunate, but again, like a bunch of little mistakes, but I still think Hyper can pull out a good run here. There's a lot of run left, and we haven't even gotten to like the mid and late game boss fights, at least in the runs I've watched. That's where Hyper really shines. So
this is good Moss Knight RNG. Ideally, you want both of them to be on screen. If the right one is not on screen, you have to wait quite a bit. But it's pretty much 50-50. But you love to see that RNG from the Moss Knights.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to wait for the one on the right to walk over, right?
Yeah, you have to wait a bit, and you can hit the rocks while you're doing it, so it doesn't lose that much. I think it's only like a second or two. I don't quote me on that.
So we got Horn here. Let's see what opening Hyper goes for.
Yeah.
Oh, I like. Okay.
Very solid so far. Only like 2 missed nail slashes, I think, but I don't want to be over critiquey of the Hornet fight since it's
Oh no!
Oh, nice
it's like one hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty good fight. Like
solid,
one or two small mistakes.
You do like to see that.
Definitely.
Very well played from Hyper.
Yeah, so next up, we will not be going for Mantis Claw, which is a big change from pretty much any other main board category. I believe, right?
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it is. I forgot. Someone mentioned in chat. I forgot that they don't do the first fireball skip on current patch. So any current patch runner would just tell you that the third one is the hardest.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That they don't do the one after the boulder, right?
Yeah. I don't know. You need someone who runs both to tell you which one's harder. Both current patch and 1.2.2.1.
Yeah.
Okay, these enemies that he's going through right now are really, really difficult to deal with because there's 3 of them and they all have like I don't know, probably like a number of spots they can be in. It is extremely obnoxious you just can't memorize all of the patterns. I mean, maybe you can if you run it enough. I don't have enough experience to have ever memorized all the patterns, but you have to think really fast because they're at the start of the room and they're just hard to navigate. But yeah, so we're going straight to Gruzmother. One thing that's funny about Gruzmother is so the Geo can get caught in the ceiling. And normally in any percent and all skills, you can just jump up and grab the Geo, but because they don't have Claw yet, you actually can't recover Geo that's in the ceiling. So if Gruzmother flies to the ceiling, you kind of just have to wait until she flies down. Luckily, it doesn't happen to Hyper here, but it is a pretty funny interaction that can happen.
Yeah. Do you know which shade skip Hyper does? Because for anybody who, if there's any casual viewers just who haven't really seen much True Ending, if you've never seen the shade skip that they do in this category without Claw, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, this is a really fun trick. I don't know which one Hyper does. I assume they probably do 1 fireball, but they may have dropped it for the marathon. But yeah, so you can do this trick with either 1 fireball or 2 fireballs. In the meantime, they're just going to be buying Shaman Stone and rescuing Schy and then dying and gathering some soul. But there's 2 versions of this. One of them you fireball twice and one of them you fireball only once. The single fireball is a bit faster, but it actually saves more time later because you get to keep the soul until resting grounds where you can use it to hit a stag bell faster.
Yeah. So now we got.
They're gonna be collecting.
Yeah, we're gonna go get Schy, gathering soul along the way. We'll be able to tell in a second if Hyper's gonna go for 1 or 2 fireball. Okay, 2 fireball it is. Yeah. So for anyone who's never seen this is a really cool shade skip. Oh, getting a fireball. Hyper knows the backup. Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, that's unfortunate.
I mean, it's.
That might. I mean, it technically is the runner's fault, but it's a really tough thing that happens with them. Oh my gosh,
I've been playing this video game, running it for 3 years, and I've never seen double fireballs.
Really?
I have never seen double fireballs.
Yeah, that is unlucky. So what happened to Hyper there, actually, I assure you they probably were holding down when they did that forward slash, but the game actually drops your down input, so you have to repress it after the shade hits you. I don't know why that happens, but it happens very frequently. I think it's consistently. So you have to build a muscle memory of like repressing it, and it's very easy to mess that up and accidentally forward slash.
Poor Hyper. I feel for Hyper right now. That's so unfortunate, but
that can be a frustrating thing to happen. The shade fireball, not only does it just lose an enormous amount of time, but it is much more difficult than to do the shade skip when you get the fireball. If you don't just re-enter the hut. But re-entering the hut loses time, obviously. So as a speedrunner, you try to lab backups, but it is much harder.
So now we're going to Dreamnail sequence, which is kind of scary to do without Claw. There's much less room for error.
Yeah, if you mess up, and I will admit, in any percent, I do frequently do wall jumps, because I accidentally miss a platform by a little bit. But you can't do that in true ending. There's no room for error. If you fall, you are just gone.
I was gonna say, is that why I never see true ending runners go for Dream Dash?
That's part of it. The other reason is because Dream Dash actually saves less time in true. I think it saves less time in true ending because you can't do the follow up, which is
Gotcha.
the wall jump off the platform right after.
So for those who don't know what Dream Dash is a strat where you jump and dash out over the empty space before the platforms are even there, and if you do it perfect, like if you see a really good runner do it, it kind of looks like they jump off of completely nothing in the air because the hitboxes for those platforms show up before they actually show up on screen. But you know, in a category like any percent, if you mess it up a little, you can grab the side of the platform and save yourself. True ending runners are not as fortunate.
So yeah, so here we're just gonna be grabbing the bell, and then we're gonna be on our way to Fungal because we still have not collected Claw. And on our way to Claw, Hyper is going to kill Elder Who, which, as true ending demands in this category, you need a lot of essence to get Awoke Dream though.
Yeah, and my understanding too is, you know, way back, you know, before I even started running this game, finding that shade skip was pretty heavy for the category because prior you would have to go get Claw, then go get Dreamnail, then go back to Fungal later in the run to do Elder Who. So doing Clawless shade skip allows us to not have to make 2 trips to Fungal and saves a dramatic amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that skip can be one of the gatekeepers to new runners learning the category.
Yeah,
it is
definitely.
not too difficult, but it's definitely not free. Yeah, Hyper making his way to Fungal. So Elder Who coming up. Many know him as one of the worst Dream Warriors in the game. He is extremely obnoxious, having an attack where he simply disappears for like 5 seconds and doesn't let you hit him. You just can't do anything. You just wait until he respawns. And he can use that attack just about whenever he wants. Fortunately, if you play well, on average, you won't often lose more than 5 seconds to like optimal. Oh, that fireball is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's
and immediately gets unlucky.
The pancakes.
Yep, that is the attack. Yep, and there it is again.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We love Elder Who.
Yeah.
An amazing boss, designed by our favorite dev, Team Cherry.
And I think here...
These are really good dodges, though. That was actually very impressive. The second half of that fight was executed just perfectly.
Like, he got a terrible pattern, but he did about as well as he could have with that.
Yeah, other than the missed fireball at the start, that was insanely clean.
Because we're going to see this repeatedly as we just saw Hyper do it, do you want to talk a bit about the Dreamnail early control we just saw?
Yeah, so on 1.2.2.1, I'm sure it's on other patches, but this is just the one that this run is on. If you buffer a Dreamnail after like Dreamnailing a Dream Warrior, you actually just get control and you can leave the room. So that's why you see Hyper collecting essence like as he's leaving the room, because he just gets early control. And that saves like quite a bit of time, but it's not on current patch.
Yeah. And my understanding too is you can leave the room too early on accident and not get your essence. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can. There's a couple setups we have, like Elder Who, you Dreamnail from as far right as possible, and then you just dash out, and it can't ever be too late. Hyper's going for Mantis Pogo here. Very cleanly executed.
Very clean, yeah. E-Pogo into Mantis early control is a really, really difficult section for a lot of runners.
Into Mantis Pogo and then Mantis early control. Yeah, so it's like
that was
the trifecta.
Yeah, minus Elder Who getting like 3 pancake attacks. That was a really, really good split from Hyper.
Yeah, very solid.
Yeah.
So now we are on our way to Zero. Zero is mostly a scripted fight. It's not like scripted. Like, it's not going to be exactly the same every time. The ending varies a bit. But for the most part, you're going to get like about the same time every time if you execute it correctly. But sometimes he can make it really awkward to do so.
And I believe you recently, Guanky, found a strat where if you kill Zero on the right side of the room and then leave the room, it's actually faster than waiting for...
yeah, I think Hyper will probably do it. This is my singular, like, notable time save I've ever found in Hollow Knight in my 4,000 hours playing. Okay, yeah, so Hyper should do it here because he's got a good position on him.
There.
Yep, here it is. So
Perfect,
leaving the room here and then reloading is actually just faster than waiting for him to respawn. And that saves 2.5 seconds.
Yeah. And you guys saw it again there. Hyper Dream Nails 0 and then immediately buffers another Dream Nail real quick and is able to get early control out of the room. And hitting!
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, Hyper gaming right.
Just
Unfortunate pattern. I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that the Husk... You can squeeze over top of the Husk Sentry there.
Yeah, it is actually optimal, but it's difficult to do.
It's tight. It's pretty tight.
It's also risky because like you don't want to get hit.
Right.
It doesn't matter so much in druiding because you quit out. In any percent when you do that, it is really bad to get hit because you have to go into Chandelier, which carries your health directly to Watcher Knights. And you do not want to be low health for Watcher Knights. But yeah, so Hyper's going to be making his way down here, skipping the seal because you do not need it in druiding.
He got a really good pattern on that bottom row.
The bottom row was basically all you can ask for.
Yeah, all the enemies stacked up on top of each other, not too far right. That's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, so we're here getting King Station so that we can get back here quickly later. Unfortunate bonk into the spikes there. But
we're still good,
just
though.
collecting an enormous amount of Geo to buy the extremely overpriced light.
Hey, you don't know what Schy has to do to get a Lumafly stuck in a lantern like that.
Yeah, maybe it's a difficult process.
Can be easy, yeah. Goodness.
Yeah, so we're going to be heading to Glade. Hyper told me prior to this run that he's not going to be doing Revicless. So we will see a Revicless less Spirit's Glade. But
how much time does Revicless save, actually?
So Revicless saves 3.5 or 4.
Sure.
Notably, there's a big meme in the community because everyone, like, a lot of people go for it. I was one of, like, the only runners at the top level who didn't go for it, and I got, like, a record without going for it. And so we, like, make jokes and, like, meme at each other about it. But Hyper doesn't go for it in runs himself, so he decided not to go for it here. It's, in my opinion, it's really not worth it. It is 4 seconds, so if you can hit it consistently, then more power to you. It is a really cool trick.
Yeah, for those who don't know too, Revicless is essentially a strat where instead of climbing that room and go zigzagging around like we just saw Hyper do, there's a set of very precise dashes and trans dashes you can do to climb up the waterfall directly, and as Guanqi just mentioned, it saves a bit of time.
Yeah, it is a very cool strat. So now we're going to be getting we're going to be going to Limb after we grab another seal from Dirtmouth. So we're going to be benching in Dirtmouth for a save quit later. And then we're going to go into the well and grab this Palinus seal for even more Geo. And as you can see, just a ton of Geo collection early game. But yeah, grabbing this, and we're on our way to kill Gorgeous Husk for even more Geo, and then sell everything to Limb.
Nice. And then I believe, well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. Let's pay attention to what's going on now. But yeah, heading back to City, G-Husk. This category always feels so weird. Every time I see the routing of this category, I'm like, man, this has to be optimizable because we go back and forth in so many places so many times. And then when I look at it, I'm like, no, I really don't see anything we could change, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, like no matter how you change it, then you just can't get back to where you wanted to go because the way it's routed really cleverly. I don't actually know who routed it, but I have to believe it was some of the old time runners in the community. So shout out to them for routing this because it is routed cleverly, and no matter how long I've thought about it, I cannot think of a single way to make it better. And it is a really complex and strange route.
I don't know how outdated it is at this point, but I do know that there's a Speed Docs documentary on like the true ending category as a whole, which is pretty interesting. It talks about how, you know, this category used to get Abyss Shriek, for example, which is something I didn't know.
Oh yeah, Abyss Shriek. There was a big debate over whether Abyss Shriek or Shade Soul is faster. Some people like to do, or some people have believed previously that Abyss Shriek was like a baby route, but it is significantly harder for everything except for Radiance. Radiance is made a lot easier by having Shriek, but you have to do a lot of very difficult fights and cursed fights because of the lack of Shade Soul. But yeah, so we're
for Abyss Shriek route, you don't get Shade Soul at all. Got it.
Yeah, you don't. There is another route where you get both. That is the actual baby route because the Abyss Shriek isn't actually easier. That one is easier. So it is a good gateway into the category if you're new.
So now we're heading to Lem. We're gonna sell however many relics we have, get a ton of money. You know, we save and quit after Lem here, back to Dirtmouth, I believe.
Yeah, we're going back to Dartmouth, and we're going to do Crystal Peaks, which is one of the more intricate sections of movement in the run, especially for a very boss fight heavy run. This run definitely has its parts where the movement shine. Crystal Peaks being one of them. It's not too different from any percent or all skills, but it is definitely still a cool part of movement in the run.
Yeah, are there any differences in how we do C-Peak in this category versus more popular ones like all skills, any percent?
Any category where we do what? I'm sorry.
Crystal Peak.
Any category where you don't do Crystal Peak?
No, so, I'll just say it again. Are there any big differences in the Crystal Peak split between True Ending and other popular categories?
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. So the only difference between this and any percent Crystal Peak is the infected bench fly room isn't infected, so you don't have to deal with the flies, but you also can't poke with it. And you have to grab the shopkeeper's key in Crystal Peaks, which is a pretty difficult cycle to do. The trans dash in that room actually ends up saving quite a bit because it helps you make a cycle instead of just saving like a measly 0.1.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Hyper goes for it. I don't remember offhand. Oops. Yeah, so heading in here, as Guanqi said, this is going to be pretty standard up until the room after God Cycle room, or key room, because in this category, we don't have fancy dash slash like you would in all skills, so we actually have to get the elegant key to acquire Shade Soul dev intended boring way.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do have to actually not skip the door.
We have to play
and
the
going
game.
For Pogax, very nicely executed.
Yeah.
Very scary trick because if you mess it up, you can lose enormous amounts of time. And by enormous, I mean like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Or you can get really lucky and only lose like 1 if he immediately throws again.
So let's see here. Hyper does get the trans dash. Oh, falling off though. That's gonna mess up the cycle. The trans dash was cool.
Yeah.
But there's the key. Or, sorry, that's Shopkeeper's key. We use that to get Elegant Key from Schy. I skipped a step there. Yeah.
And the rest we're just going to finish out the rooms as normal, grabbing Crystal Heart.
Yeah, so we'll see the same cycles you'd see in any percent where we do the damage tank. So for those, because I see this in my chat a lot, people often comment on the cycle in this room of, oh, well, I see some runners take damage, some don't. Really what it comes down to is 2 things. 1, the category you're running, and 2, runner's preference. So in categories like any percent or true ending here, so we see Hyper take the damage tank there. That's actually the fastest way to do this. That's doing this room with the damage tank is faster. It's just that in certain categories like all skills or 106, for example, where you don't save and quit after Crystal Heart and you have to go all the way to Crystal Mound and get D-Dark, a lot of runners feel a little safer with the extra health, so they take the... I don't even think it's 1 second of time loss. It's pretty minor, but...
I think it's 0.5 to 1 second. I'm not sure how much it is. But yeah, if you don't have like as max health there already in all skills, it can be pretty risky if you're going. In 106, I think it's worse because you have to do even more after D-Dark and Dream Mill.
Yeah.
I believe you have to go back to Crossroads and take like a damage tank or 2 optimally. So in 106, it's just entirely not worth it. In all skills, if you're very, very confident, then it might sometimes be worth to take the damage tank for the time save, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Intro ending in any percent, we just quit out immediately, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
And we're going to be on our way to Shade Soul. So Shade Soul is going to be our last actual upgrade, aside from wings, but our last damage upgrade for the rest of the category. And we're going to kill, I don't say every boss in the game, but close to every boss in the game, at least on this patch, with Shade Soul. It is just going to be a boss rush massacre with Shade Soul. But it is really, really interesting, some of the fights we're going to see. And we're going to start it off with one of the more difficult ones, being Soul Warrior. Despite it looking like a mini-boss, it is actually extremely difficult, in part because you have to end the fight with at least 2 health if you don't want to lose a lot of time. And that's because you need to have one of the follies alive that it spawns, because you can get early control while picking up Shade Soul. If you like lure the folly over to where you pick up Shade Soul, and that actually saves quite a bit of time. And in part because it is just a really difficult fight with Shade Soul.
Yeah, it's a difficult fight in general, but especially without, you know, D-Dark or something like that, it gets pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Especially because optimally, you're probably really trying to hit doubles and setting those up.
A big part of this category in killing bosses is hitting doubles with Shade Soul. This boss in particular seems to be a bit inconsistent with what counts as a double and what isn't going to double. Like, a lot of times it'll look like something just should double and it doesn't.
Was a good
but generally
twister.
Yeah, that was a really solid spell twister. He didn't. He control you really hard and just make you lose a lot of time if he teleports, because he can just teleport all he wants. But yeah, so we're coming up on a pretty difficult boss fight here. Let's see how Hyper handles it. I don't know how many doubles. I think you want 6 or 7.
Yeah.
To kill the boss.
And there's a nice double. Very nice. And as you mentioned too, you know, experienced runners try to be very careful to make sure that, you know, they kind of can tell, okay, I'm pretty sure the boss is about to die. I want to make sure I don't accidentally kill a folly with my last fireball, because then you can't do the skip. And I think Hyper's trying to be pretty conscious of that here. Yep,
very well executed, and the folly is as far left as possible. That's exactly
that's like perfect RNG. Yeah, so you'll see Hyper, he lures that folly, so now when he activates this cutscene here, he gets knocked out of it. He can go back down and grab that Geo, because you can't save and quit here until the little save icon appears. And there it is. Yeah, so if you save and quit there too early, you actually don't get Shade Soul.
It looks like he stopped. Maybe the wiggle didn't work or something. I don't know why, but it looks like the reason he's wiggling back and forth is for some reason it just makes the game save like 2 seconds faster. I gotta be
honest, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just wiggling back and forth just makes the game save 2 seconds faster. You can quit out, saves 2 seconds. I don't know why. For some reason, it didn't work.
I'm laughing because I've watched all of you True Ending and 106 runners and stuff do that for like the better part of 2 years now, and just never thought anything. I'm like, oh, they're just wiggling because they're bored or something. I did not know it
for some reason. I'm pretty sure it was found because people were wiggling because they were bored.
Gotcha.
People were like, wait, why did it happen so fast?
That's so funny.
And
then my God.
It was realized that, like, oh, this is just fast. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the cause of that. It's probably a similar reasoning to, like the fast tolls and stuff.
I was gonna say, can we get some TC spaghetti in the chat?
Yeah, it is very spaghetti.
So mechanically, this fight is pretty. I mean, it's pretty similar to any percent. You just have a more powerful fireball.
Yeah, and because of that,
same movement.
Yeah, because of that, it actually makes the fight just insanely quick. You can see Hyper just annihilating the first pair.
Yeah,
it's actually so quick that a lot of patterns, you could just memorize the entire pattern and just do the same thing every time. Like when you recognize what they're doing, because they just die so quick. When you have Shade Soul. Shade Soul does like an enormous amount of damage. Yeah. Triple save a lot of time in that fight too. It's 40 per hit, but you often hit doubles.
Yeah. I don't know how to do math. Excuse me.
That was Water Knight's very, very clean fight. TC Chow. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
I think so.
So yeah, Lurian, and then we are going to be making our way down to Broken Vessel. Unlike all skills, we will not see the detour to Ismas, which I can say from running True Ending after all skills. It is such a relief to just fall down the elevator and just look at Spike Tunnel and say, ha, I'm not going to do the Spike Tunnel, and then just leave. It's so nice to just fall down the corridor and just simply ignore all of the Isma skips, and because that is the most nerve-wracking part of all skills, is being on a good pace and then having to do Spike Tunnel on pace, because it can just fail. Like, it looks like you're gonna hit it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. I think we're actually heading into the part of the run I'm most excited for, which is, you know, Broken Vessel Lostkin fights. Ever since Hyper posted that video of his best Lostkin, I've just, my mind's been blown. Like, it was like stun lock in the corner, triple across the room, just back and forth over and over. It was like, what, like a 40-second fight?
Yeah, Adam's done a lot of work in optimizing how do you respond to each attack with Lostkin. Yeah. So shout outs to Adam for putting in a lot of effort to that boss fight. Lostkin is a really, really cool fight, and it flows like the way we currently fight it with all the current strats. The way it flows is insane. Like everything is, it's like a stun lock, but you actually have to actively react and like change how you stun lock it and like where you stun lock it according to what it does. So it's a really intricate fight, and Hyper is one of the best people to showcase that intricate fight, because he is an absolute beast at this fight. I believe he's had ComSob in it. I don't know if he currently has ComSob in it. I would have to look, but he definitely at least at some point has had the community best fight.
And bye, Spike Tunnel.
Yep, simply ignore.
Ooh,
so this C-dash is just RNG. But luckily Hyper knows the backup C-dash.
Very well.
Doesn't lose
Getting hit
too
by
much,
the second one is the
obnoxious.
worst.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I don't know how much each of them are. The first one and the second one are both just backed up by the backup C-dash, but I think the second one loses more because you get hit later and then back it up.
Right.
Third one, you just continue without it.
Yeah. Right.
But all three of them can hit you, and that room is just a sad part of the run. It just decides if you lose time or not for no reason.
Right.
But upcoming the Mullerks are one of my, I want to say one of my favorites, but like a really, really cool movement section. So all of these are actually consistent. All of the strats for these guys have been labbed and are consistent, except for one C-dash where a guy can just hit you. But I think it's really rare that it happens, although it's a marathon, so I don't want to comms curse.
Right. Yeah, every single one of these is like except this one right there, and he doesn't get hit. Every single other one, if you get hit, is completely your own fault. Gotta take responsibility, guys. Don't listen to anybody telling you that.
Oh my gosh, and Hyper hits absolutely perfect Mullerks and follows it up with the wall cling storage in the corner. That is like a very small. Wow, this is a perfect split. This is insane. That was actually just a pleasure to watch. That was perfect. That was insane.
That was really good. Yeah, so
like so far, I think this is ComSob pace for the split.
Yeah. So for this fight here, Lostkin spawns in once all those little light seeds on the ground disappear, which is why you see Hyper charging a C-dash there. So that once they're all on screen, Hyper does one C-dash across the arena, kills them all, and it makes Lostkin start the fight a little bit faster.
Broken Vessel, but yeah.
Broken Vessel. We're not Lostkin yet. No headbang attack yet, but I don't know. Do you actually want headbang attacks without D-Dark?
It doesn't. I don't think it matters much.
Gotcha.
It is somewhat fast. You can't get doubles, but you can just sit there and DPS it, so it makes up for itself. I think the only really mistake in that was not fireballing earlier at the end. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe Hyper needed to nail it, so don't quote me on that. Hyper is the better boss fighter here, to be honest. I will not question his ways.
Now we got Lostkin. I feel we talked this up pretty hard. Let's see if Hyper delivers. I have full faith. Hopefully we didn't comms curse.
Yeah, so not a ton to say about this fight. Just watch and enjoy.
Yeah. Oh my
gosh. He hits the hard double too. That is so impressive.
It's like a treat watching this fight.
That double, when he doesn't do the raised dash, or that triple when he doesn't do the raised dash, is really, really precise to hit. So it is really impressive seeing him hit that, especially in this marathon.
And intentionally taking 3 damage here. Oh, I was gonna make a joke about the death warp, but
nah. On 1221, so current patch, that death warp saves like a large amount. I think it's like a couple seconds. On 1221, I believe it's not worth it if you literally have to deal with the freeze frames. Like, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure it just doesn't save time. Most people just don't do it.
Yeah, for those wondering what we're talking about, you can intentionally die to one of those floating enemies slightly before Lostkin's death animation is over, and it saves a little bit of time if you do it well.
Yeah.
But it saves such little time on this patch that, like Wonky said, if you have to take more than 2 or 3 damage, the freeze frames literally cancel out the time save, so it's not worth it.
Yeah, well, that's what I've heard. Don't quote me on this. This is just what I've heard from other people who supposedly have timed it.
Other trusted people in the community.
I will not be held responsible for misinformation on Hollow Knight community stream.
Right. Gosh. So
yeah,
now,
on current patch, you're able to die a lot earlier, as Abra says.
So now, if I remember correctly, the boss rush continues, and we're heading back to our friend Failed Champ, right?
Yeah, I like to call this section of the run the Big Three because, especially when I was learning the category, it was so difficult to not die to one of these bosses. I felt like every run was like, oh my god, can I make it past the combination of Lost Kin, then Failed Champ, then Hornet 2, all 3 in a row? And you have to do them all 3 in a row without dying, and it just feels like it's such like it's probably the biggest barrier to entering this category aside from Radiance and maybe White Palace.
Yeah, Failed Champ just looks hard. It just looks like
Failed Champ is not even just it looks hard, it just is hard. It took me an enormous amount of time to not die in the first place. It is because so Failed Champ does 2 damage every hit. And his movement is extremely fast and sporadic, so you can just like jump at a moment's notice and you have to react. But unfortunately, we don't have to do all 3 phases. After the oh my god, that is a really rare interaction. So
never seen that.
If a slope is like if there's like a miracle geometry, which in that case that particular spot is just a miracle of geometry the way it was placed, your C dash can actually just corner correct.
Did you know that you can't C dash off of that wall on current patch?
Yeah, I saw that. It's so
why? No, so we should talk about the fight here because there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, okay, so Hyper goes for a double at the start. Sorry. Hyper goes for that double at the start and missing it, and actually has to get a Dream Knell net here, otherwise he's going to be losing a lot of time. Reason being that every Shade Soul you miss, and that includes not getting doubles, is actually another 8 nil hits you have to do because of you don't get soul from this fight. I'm hoping he gets a Dream Knell here. It might just be a long grind of nail hits, which honestly is not too bad of an option.
Yeah.
Also, that was 2 health and so close to getting hit.
My God,
oh my gosh. Thank God he's healing. That scared the life out of me.
Yeah,
this
so
is
what
no
you'll
easy
see
fight.
here, Failed Champ's hammer, mallet, whatever you want to call it, that he swings, actually has a hitbox. So experienced runners like Hyper here, they know how to time their Shade Souls perfectly so that you hit the hammer, then the body of Failed Champ, and then the hammer on the other side for a triple hit on each of those. Yeah,
exactly. And that's pretty much the whole fight. Very well executed by Hyper. Very clutch to not die in this marathon setting.
I 100% would have died.
Yeah, this is the easiest boss to die to in the run, in my opinion. It can just happen in an instant. You can be on a perfect run, and all of a sudden, 2 hits, and then get hit by a rock, and you're dead. Like, I've had too many experiences just thinking, oh man, the fight's done. Nice, good fight, and then it just ends on the spot.
Brutal.
It is such a punishing fight. So very well on Hyper, and he's got one more in the so-called Big 3 fights of this category. But we are not done with the boss fights after Hornet 2, because after that it is just a boss rush of even more Dream Warriors.
Oh, do we get Dreamgate here? Is that why he's going to Resting Grounds?
Yeah,
okay.
So we're getting Dreamgate before Hornet 2, mostly because we just get enough essence for it, and it is an enormous part of the running in this category. Using Dreamgate to just get around is like very, very helpful because you don't have to like backtrack for anything. Actually, we get to see a really clever, well, I guess convenient use of Dreamgate immediately. We actually Dreamgate to this one spot like 3 times in King Station for Hornet 2, and then after Shade Cloak, and then after Markov once again.
Nice.
But yeah, Hornet 2. So most people know Hornet 2, especially if you've seen All Skills runs, as basically being the hardest boss in All Skills, and it is true. And it is no easier in True Ending. In fact, it's actually harder in True Ending, because you have to do an acid skip, which requires taking damage. So you actually have 4 health, and you also don't have D-Dark, so your only option is Shade Soul, even when Hornet Nail throws, which is typically when you would like to D-Dark in All Skills. So you have to fight Hornet on 1 less HP and with less equipment. It is no easy task, but we'll see if Hyper can do it. Judging from the rest of how he's played in these boss fights, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, Hyper's playing pretty well.
And hitting these birds to collect soul is a strat to get a double, or if you're lucky, get a double at the start of the Hornet fight. And hits the acid skip perfectly. You basically are just hitting a hazard warp box, or hazard respawn box, and then falling into the acid. And then when you respawn on the other side. And so it gets the third hit of soul right there, and he'll be starting the fight with a fireball presumably, which is just a nice way for Hornet to simply have less health than she would otherwise.
Yeah, I had never thought about the fact that you do this fight with 4 health in True Ending. That's super scary.
It is very scary. Very easy to die in. Hopefully I'm not comms cursing once again, but Hyper's proved me wrong in every scenario. So.
Yeah, so you see Hyper getting there, hits the double very well. Just in general as a rule of thumb for people, being farther away from enemies just on average gives you a better chance of hitting doubles. So that's why you saw Hyper walk away at the start of that fight.
Yeah, exactly. You typically when you fight bosses, you kind of want to be really close to them, but Hornet is actually the opposite because all your damage just comes from the Shade Soul, and you need her to be on the other side of the arena. This is an amazing fight. That was insane.
God.
He got like 5 doubles. That was disgusting.
That was crazy, dude.
Yeah, and he only took 2 damage too. That was just absurd.
Oh my.
That I'm tempted to say that's pretty close to Comsoft.
Yeah. We've been talking up Hyper's boss fights since before the run even started, and Hyper has not disappointed.
That was truly amazing. Like that was.
Gwonky, I thought we still had like another 10-15 seconds to just chat and meme around like, oh, Hornet's dead. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well.
I noticed because he just didn't miss a double. Like he started with a double and then he hit the double, where like you fireball twice without even stopping, and she just gets hit by both doubles. But yeah, the Dreamgate early control as well, similar to the All Skills Nail Art version, but instead with a Dreamgate. To go back here, and we're going to be on our way to Shade Cloak, which is a really, really cool movement split. There's pretty much no RNG except for the Lighthouse Climb, which there's a ton of RNG in, so very nice contrast there. Running this as an IL is very funny, because you pretty much just run no RNG for a minute and a half, and then pray. But yeah, we also have a really cool wall cling storage. I don't know if Hyper does it, but that wall cling storage out of here is very, very awesome.
And real quick to answer chat, what causes a double hit from Shade Soul? Pretty much you hit the boss with the front of the Shade Soul's hitbox, and then by the time that the hitbox kind of refreshes, the enemy has moved back and is still inside of the hitbox, so it registers a second hit.
Yeah, especially on staggers with Hornet 2, because staggers send her flying backward. It sends her flying backward into the Shade Soul once again, and so that's really what you want to be aiming for.
Clean movement.
Very clean movement. You can tell he's optimized that too, because that's not the common strat people do, but it is the fastest one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks very practiced. I think he takes that damage on purpose if he gets that spawn.
The underplat.
Nope. Hyper, please. Okay, we're fine. Yeah, I got a little nervous. Yeah, I think the first damage tank he took, I think that's a planned hit if he gets bad RNG, because it is faster than going around the opposite side or waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a terrible death to take, by the way.
Yes,
I mean, it's not like that insanely bad. It's not as bad as it is in All Skills, but it is. I mean, no deaths are good, and that one's over a minute, I think. So it's definitely not a happy place to die. But just clutching out and getting out without the third hit. So
and you can save and quit like Hyper did there. You can save and quit. Is the reason we do that is to skip there's a really long cutscene for the knight acquiring Shade Soul. So as soon as your little toes dip into the pool of void shade there, you can just save and quit out and use the Dream Nail early control to get out. And as Gwonky had mentioned, we're going to use this Dream Gate quite a bit.
Yep, and when we're going to Markoth, something worth noting in Markoth, there's a C dash. Okay, first of all, there's an inventory drop, and the queue is really awkward for the inventory drop because you have to look at a spot in the background, but the background moves with you, so it's really hard to get precisely. So hopefully he hits it. I'm sure he's probably pretty consistent at it from practice. Hyper is a practice machine. He practices an enormous amount. Oh, the blue fire was really low. Okay, so the C dash in this upcoming room right here is really hard to time because you have to time it so that the hoppers are not hopping while you do the C dash. If you'll see right there,
well
like you
done.
literally hit the hopper
Oh my
But
god.
very nicely timed by Hyper. That is not an easy C-dash.
No,
Very mess up.
that was really well done.
And very dangerous too, because if you get hit, you have to deal with Markov. Also, the perfect soul collection there. That is very nice optimization.
And we'll see what
Spend
kind
no
of
time on the
fight.
hoppers. Markov can go wrong very easily, but ideally
Perfect.
that is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hyper,
Yeah.
for the demonstration. 3 doubles
Yeah.
and he dies, or 2 nail hits and then 3 doubles and he's gone.
And so now we use that that dream nail early control we were talking about earlier. We actually use that now to just dream gate directly out of rooms, and at least my understanding, Guang, is it's actually impossible to leave the room too early to
Yeah, you
not get
can't
the
leave the room
essence.
too early. And 106%, you actually have a Dream Wielder. So you can leave the room too early, so you have to intentionally buffer 2 in a row.
Oh, interesting.
So that you leave the room, but not too early to collect the essence because
That's
Dream Wielder
funny.
is so fast. But yeah, so we're making our way to Gorb. This is essentially the same as the Cyclone slash split in all skills, but you end with a quick Gorb massacre. And as the people say, it is Gorbin time.
It's Gosh. Yeah, it really is a treat watching Hyper's boss fights. It's incredible.
Yeah,
So
this is a
Gorb.
really solid run so far. Just making
Yeah.
it this far into the run without dying on a no reset is not easy at all to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, truly insomnia. It is.
definitely.
There has been a lot of work and optimization that's gone into this, and a lot of practice. This is a super heavy practice category. And here comes Gorb. Hopefully, it goes as intended, and it went as intended. Not a very in-depth, difficult boss fight.
Yeah. So Hyper wants that Vengefly right there because yes, you can denail early control, but the game actually won't let you open your menu until you take damage or something.
Yeah.
So that's
It
why
lets
Hyper
you
takes that.
menu way earlier. If you take damage.
Yeah. Well, after some pretty unfortunate luck in RNG early on in this run, Hyper has turned on the jets. We are flying, we're schmoving, we're having a good time.
On our way to the next boss fight, which is pretty much the rest of this category, save for White Palace. We are going to fight Umu, everyone's favorite boss. Luckily, it's not quite as bad as it is in any percent where there's 2 cycles and it's extremely tight, and you can also just get completely owned by RNG. However, you still can get an extra attack. In
This fight is the same
singular
as all
cycle.
skills, I believe, right?
Yeah, it operates the same as all skills, but you don't have the option for D-Dark alternatives, so you have to do the Shade Soul kill. Which,
And no Ismos, as you all just saw Hyper doing the
right, yeah.
acid skip there.
That is not an easy acid skip, by the way.
No.
It is very consistent with practice, and Hyper, like I've said, is a practice machine. So it is no surprise to see them head it first try.
Very nice.
But
Setting the D gate here, nice.
God,
I imagine that helps
It's
us
so
not
easy
have
to
to-
forget.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially because I don't know many other categories that do it, but I imagine it saves dramatic time leaving after.
Yeah, it's basically
Umu.
just you don't have to leave archives.
Right. And again, for anyone who doesn't like, we don't have Ismos here, so a lot of these movements are necessary to not stand in the acid.
Yeah, that movement over the acid before Umu. So he's just gonna be baiting him Umu to the right, and you can actually push Umu out of bounds and then double Umu like twice while he's out of bounds. And that's what Hyper's gonna be doing here. So he wants Umu coming down. I didn't see what the first attack was. It was a long actually.
Yeah,
but he
so
does
he
get
got
too
boss
fast,
pattern.
so that is good.
And Umu looks low enough here. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is good.
so we're not getting an extra. Hopefully we'll see a good one cycle.
Perfect.
Very
Well done.
beautiful. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and I often tell people a lot because it's Hyper made that look really easy. That is a very, very precise kill. That's not like you can just hop on and losing the wall cooling storage is sad.
It is what-
But anyway, it's a very precise one cycle there. And I tell a lot of people if you're not understanding it or struggling, I highly recommend going into debug and zooming the camera way out so you can actually see what's happening to Umu
Yeah.
off screen. It helps
Zooming
a lot.
out helped me so much.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I logged on or like I tried to learn how to do that cycle, I couldn't get it like the first like however many attempts, and then I zoomed out and tried. I literally got it the first try I zoomed out because I
Yeah,
could just see what happened, and I was like, okay, it just makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, for those who don't know, what happens is when Umu's out of bounds there's no more friction or anything keeping Umu from bouncing like crazy, so the doubles just automatically hit.
Yeah. But if Uma's not all the way out of bounds, what you want to do with your fourth nail hit, then it can just go wrong. So we're going to be dream getting out and heading straight toward No Eyes. And as we all know, No Eyes is the worst boss, but particularly the worst boss in this category and 112. It is, I think, relatively the same.
By the way, that early control dream gate there that's something runners started doing somewhat recently, I believe, right?
Yeah, Scruffy found that in 106. It saves quite a bit of time if you're dream getting out. But so yeah, so we're gonna be heading up here, setting a dream gate for that.
Yeah, I got so scared.
Yeah, I've never hit that jelly before. I didn't know where it went. But yeah, Hyper seems that he has. Otherwise, I'm sure he wouldn't have hit it. But 4 health No Eyes is not exactly the comfiest thing in the world. Doing a quick airwalk there, a nice little tech for the tech enjoyers. But yeah, so No Eyes can teleport. I believe it's a 1 in 3. I don't know how exactly it works, but like 1 in 3 chance to teleport. Someone can correct me on the odds. Every time you hit No Eyes, 35% chance. Thank you. And you need 2 doubles and a single. So we're aiming to get double hits. I think that was 1. That's a single. Oh my gosh, you can pogo those things. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I had no idea. I'm learning
Hyper is
something
just
new
a genius. Okay, so fairly decent fight. Did have to farm a bit of soul, but you know, I would not be complaining about that fight. That is a very well executed. It was not the best RNG. No, it did not get very good positions. Who? Pancakes and 0 swords. I knew about the pancakes. I did not know you could pogo 0 swords.
One thing Hyper's doing too that is just a good tip for other runners that do. And pretty much, I mean, whether you're a rando player or anything, that's unfortunate. This acid skip is really difficult. But when you kill a dream boss and they kind of explode into their essence and before they come back to the middle area, right when that happens, if you buffer 4 nail swings and then immediately buffer your dream nail, you'll hit it on like the earliest frame possible, which you guys all see Hyper doing for these.
Yeah, there's a lot of setups you can do. Truening has a ton of just nail buffering setups. Buffering nails in this game just tends to be really helpful because it's always consistent timing. So if you can find something to start buffering a nail hit off of, it's oftentimes that like you can buffer something. You can almost always buffer something to find a setup for stuff.
Nice.
Very solid. Hyper's going to be taking a heal here because you can very easily take 2 damage, or in the next room, or even
totally respect that heal.
So yeah, you do not want to die in the next room. It is a bad death. And it's also right before the bench. So we're going to be coming up on a bench. And then, as most people know, considered the worst section of the run, which is frogs.
Frogs.
There has been some recent developments actually with frogs. Being, or I don't know about how recent, but they are better than probably most people's last impression of seeing them. There is a decent amount we know about how they work, and a fairly not consistent, but like fairly decent way to navigate through there, where you oftentimes won't get hit more than once or twice in the first room. Nice. So hopefully, you know, Hyper's. I'm pretty confident in Hyper's ability, but frogs are just a very annoying part. Luckily, they are a short death if you die to them. It is very... I've had quite a few PBs with deaths to frogs, because it is just a thing that happens and will occur sometimes.
So so this arena that Hyper is just crushing through right now, how scripted is this arena?
It's 100% scripted. The only thing that's not scripted is occasionally you'll miss a double, but pretty much... all of the doubles are consistent. It's just that occasionally you can mess it up. But yeah, that entire arena is 100% planned in just about every way. So
very well done.
But it is not necessarily easy to do.
For sure,
you have to have some kind of precise positions for the doubles. So we're going to be dream getting here and doing 5 health frogs immediately into Marmu. So I'll let the frogs do the talking here, or not. Hyper's just going to speed through them and get no-hit frogs in the first room.
Like they're not even there.
Literally,
just my goodness.
Perfectly executed frogs. Okay, well,
still though.
Yeah, either way, that's a very, very good frogs.
Yeah.
One more section of frogs, hopefully not too awkward. He gets the soul he needs from them too, and gets through with only 2 hits. That's really solid. Marmu coming up is 100% scripted. It's not too difficult to get the quick kill down, but it is possible to mess up.
You answered my question before I could ask it. Yeah, there are two doubles and a single. Nice.
Yeah, there you That is exactly what it should look like every time.
Well done. And that's 100% consistent, huh? That same pattern.
Yeah, you can hit that every single time.
Nice.
And it can be really difficult to back up if you do miss it though, because Marmu just bounces everywhere and you don't have soul. Unfortunate on that Mossy. That Mossy can just like drift around. It's kind of annoying. But you do need the soul for the start of the Trader Lord Arena. It is very helpful.
So now, probably, if I had to guess, Trader Lord heading over.
Yeah.
Now on this patch, Trader Lord still only does 1 damage per hit, I believe, right?
Under plat, that is not a good strat, because if you bonk into it, you just fall on the spikes.
Listen,
Trader Lord only does 1 damage, yeah, and Trader Lord on this patch also has significantly less health, like an enormous amount less. Also, very, very nice early fireballs. You can actually kill those things before they spawn. Their hitbox spawns like really early.
Ooh, this
is sketchy. Oh my god, they're going for doubles on this
They're going
HP.
for the doubles on 1 health. The respect I have for Hyper. Oh my, Hyper, please! Okay.
Oh my god! I'm sorry for my squealing, but holy cow. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. The bravery, the courage it takes to go for those shade or the shade cloak doubles on 1 health. Oh my god.
Honestly, truaning is a category where you can look at a boss fight, and very often, unless you're going for a stupid time, you can just be happy and satisfied that you did not die, because it is so easy to die. It is easy to die to Trader Lord, despite it mechanically being a pretty straightforward fight. I have seen and experienced myself a number of dead runs to Trader Lord. But yeah, it typically looks a bit smoother than that, but let's just we're just happy that the Hyper did not die there, because that was very, very close. But a good clutch again from Hyper. So we're on our way down to Galeon and Hera. So we're gonna be Dream Gating and using it basically as just a check mark. Grab Galeon and then Dream Gate back to on our way to Hera. But first we're going to be doing some Whispering Root movement, which is a really cool part of this. Funny story about this, we had been doing this root movement for a while, and someone showed up, Hartenbauer, who's a really old runner, and I was like, why don't you just do this movement instead? And we looked at it, and you get like 4 more essence, and it's just a full second faster, and there's literally no downside.
Wow.
And we had just been doing the wrong movement for like a long time, and so this is the movement you're going to be seeing Hyper do right now. You just go down here, and you just get like more essence, and it's just faster. And we're like, why have we not done this?
This is
and you can see like Hyper has 5 extra essence. It used to be like a struggle to get exactly the right amount.
I remember I was going to ask you, so sometimes I see runners get the Whispering Root in Resting Grounds. Sometimes I see them get that one. What dictates whether a runner goes for which Whispering Root?
Yeah, so Resting Grounds is a bit outdated. I'll talk about it a bit more after Galeon. Galeon, we're going to see basically just Shade Soul a lot, and then try to get 6 nail hits and 2 more Shade Souls very quickly. And we're going to see, 6 nail hits very quickly. And miss the Shade Soul, so that's going to be really bad. We need 3 more hits. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, unfortunate, but he backed it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, very solid recovery. But anyway, so Resting Grounds Whispering Root. It's kind of outdated, but it still does save time if you want to go for it, but you need a lot of essence drops prior to it. I think you need 3 or 4, which very, very rarely happens in a category this short.
Sure.
Especially when you just skip all the enemies and kill bosses. So typically it is not often gone for, but it saves time. Like the more essence you have, the less time it takes to do Resting Grounds Root. Whereas Deep Nest is always just the same speed, so it's usually better to just stick with Deep Nest Root.
Nice.
And we're on our way to Hera. Not a lot to say about this. Pretty much just your standard movement with Din Skip.
Right. And Devout Skip too, because we Shade Soul through it. Or I keep saying Shade Soul, Shade Cloak through it.
Oh right, yeah. So we don't even have to deal with the Devout in this category. Although you can occasionally be on 1 health after Galeon. And every once in a while, this movement is super clean, by the way.
Yeah, really well done.
Every once in a while, that Devout can just back up and just go if you're on 1 HP, and it's the saddest thing ever. Very rare that it happens. I don't know if I've seen a person like lose a run to it before, but it can happen. It is scary. Yeah, very nice movement. That was actually just extremely.
That was really clean. Yeah, so we're pretty close to wrapping up here. I think we just have you got to get Woken Dream now, White Palace, and then we're on our way.
And Void Heart, and then
Void Heart, yes.
Radiance. Yeah.
And we get to see the really cool Abyss climb.
We have about 7 minutes of straight movement and platforming coming up. Starting with White Palace. I believe Hyper goes for King's Mold skip.
He does, yeah.
So yeah, okay. So King's Mold skip. I believe someone's done it. Quato did it earlier in this event. But you're going to do a blind, not really blind, but like C-dash just directly into some clouds, and then pogo some invisible cloud hitboxes to skip doing the first King's Mold. It saves about, I can't remember, but I think 4 seconds.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the edges of clouds in this game have essentially the same hitboxes as spikes, and you can actually hear like the clinging sound when you pogo them. Yeah. So we can just, as you guys are going to see in a moment, Hyper is going to pogo off some spikes.
Yep. And then White Palace is pretty much just like 4.5 minutes of straight movement, which you can immediately lose like 10 seconds at any given moment. Maybe not 10, more like 5 to 10, depending on where it is. But there's so many points in this section where one mistake will just cost you a lot of time. So getting a hitless White Palace saves quite a bit of time. I know Hyper is very capable of that, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and Guanqi, I know earlier you had mentioned that you thought mental was such a big, huge part of being successful in this category. And I'm seeing why, especially now. Look, this run, especially if you're on a good pace, your run ends with White Palace, then Abyss Climb, then you got to fight Radiance at 5 health.
You do not want to be tilted in White Palace. Being tilted in White Palace is not only a terrible experience just because it's not fun, but also a terrible experience because you are losing a lot of time being tilted in White Palace. But we can tell it does not. It looks like Hyper's mental is holding it pretty well, considering the start of this run was just an absolute RNG fest of unfortune or misfortune. But yeah, we're gonna be start with killing this King's Mold. He is kind of annoying because he can just jump back, but he should die soon. Yeah,
well done.
Jumping over.
Oh man, I didn't know that his
his blade comes back.
Yeah,
and it just goes infinitely.
If that hit me.
I believe I think I've gotten hit by that at some point.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so this is a very precise C-dash. You can see we squeezed right between all those platforms.
He actually corner corrected under the platform right there. I know. Like his knight moved down like a few pixels.
So here's King's Mold skip. Let's see if Hyper gets it.
Very
nice. First try, well done. Yeah. And you said that saves like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
It wasn't the fastest, but it was definitely fast, and it's definitely going to be faster than killing the King's Mold, so you love to see it. It's just better than not. Failing that loses a lot of time, so that is probably a big relief for Hyper. I know it would be for me.
Yeah, and I know 1XX categories. I don't know about 112, actually. That's a lie. I know in 106 they don't bother fighting. They don't bother with King's Mold skip because you have enough power to kill the King's Mold fast enough where it's not really worth it.
I believe it's about the same in 112. I can't remember, but from hearing Blue, I think it's ultimately the same. Okay, so this room is one of the harder rooms in the game, but it's followed by one of the hardest rooms in the game. I'll just let the room speak for itself.
Yeah. Very nice movement here.
And hitting these scruffy cycles, we call it, up, and then getting the normal cycle as a backup.
Yeah, well done.
But yeah, not losing any time to the normal cycle at least. That was a very solid backup at the end. This room is very difficult.
Yeah. Oh no, it's like the worst place to get it. Yeah. These dashes are incredibly precise.
Backup? This is scary. Oh my gosh. That was an insane backup. I've never seen someone do it differently than the first, like just trying the same strat again.
That was nice. Yeah, that would have been super cool if you got the optimal strat first try, but it is very, very tight. There's not much room for your hitbox in between those saw blades.
Very little room for error. Nice wall cling storage here, and then we're going to be heading into right atrium. Most of it is very, very consistent. Just about everything in this section has a setup, but don't count it out because everything is chokeable in this section. It is just nothing is free in White Palace.
No. And my understanding too is that unlike a lot of parts of this game, this run, etc. All the cycles and everything are completely consistent in White Palace.
Yeah, and there's basically just no RNG, save for like a few wing molds, in the start of balcony. But other than that, no RNG in this section. Oh, and the King's mold at the start of the.
Nice. Here's a very precise skip. Well done.
Yeah, that one has a very convenient setup, and also a very fast setup.
Nice.
Hyper executed very well. This room is probably the easiest room in White Palace, I believe. That's what I've heard from other people. I would tend to agree, but nonetheless, we're heading into balcony, the final section of White Palace, and this has just been a fantastic White Palace so far. Very
minus the one death he took, or the one hit, I should say. Like, this has been really clean.
Yeah, this is very, very impressive. Yeah, and this is pretty much the only room with RNG in the platforming part of White Palace.
Just the position of those wing molds.
Yeah,
nice.
and they're adaptable, so it's not like you're going to lose time because of it. You just have to pay attention.
And we see Hyper not going for Path of Pain. Very
that is
sad.
Really unfortunate.
Yeah, just reset the room here.
Yeah, basically just missed a wall jump. You cannot afford to miss a wall jump there because the cycle is tight. But yeah, good recovery. Very solid. Well, just chooses to reset the cycle. You do not want to mess with White Palace cycles when you don't know what the cycle is, because it is just not a good time. So choosing to reset the cycle there, very smart decision.
Yeah.
Quick saw squeeze here, and then going for the fast cycle here.
Wow.
This is not easy to do.
No, let's see if he
you have to
gets
basically hit that C-dash setupless. He got the nail knockback, so he didn't get the fastest cycle, but still good.
Still good, yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody get the super fast cycle there in a run.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if anyone's done it like in a PB.
Yeah.
I definitely know. I think Adam and I'm sure probably Hyper has as well, hit the fastest cycle in a run, but I don't know if anyone's hit it in a PB. Collecting that soul from the wings molds for fireballing, so that you don't have to wait for the charm to fall at the end.
Yeah. Very nice.
But yeah, very solid White Palace. You'd love to see it from Hyper. That is impressive. And that should wrap up White Palace. And we're coming up on the next platforming part of the run, which is the very fun Abyss Climb, or Void Heart Climb.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Abyss Climb in all skills, but not quite the same. There's some different platforms. There's no enemies to worry about. But overall, it's similar enough. Yeah, very well done from Hyper there. He did a really good job with, recovering from any of the mistakes.
Yeah, and what Jerome said too is super true. It is too easy to dunk in White Palace and then immediately tilt and dunk again. So he did a really good job of just instantly focusing after dunking and hitting it second try. On the 2 times he did mess up. So very solid.
I always think this section is sketchy because you have to go through like the birthplace overcharmed.
Yeah,
is it as sketchy as I think it is?
It's not quite as sketchy as it looks. Mostly because there's only like 2 things that can really hit you, and if you just pay attention to them, you usually won't get hit. But luckily, it is only about a 25-second death if you die here, because you can place a Dream Gate while the birthplace is opening. It doesn't lose any time. But yeah, it is sketchy because the siblings do double damage, but Overcharm is also double damage, so it's 4 damage if you get hit a single time. So you can't get hit twice. But it is short, so we'll see how he handles it.
And we can see Hyper there placing the Dream Gate while he was... Oh, that's unfortunate.
That is a really awkward sibling position, but hopefully we should be fine.
Yeah.
He will be taking it slow on the last 2 guys. Yep,
nice.
Very solid. And
very
they
well
can
done.
get you in the egg. You can just like
Hyper
control your
making
character.
Sure.
Yeah, you can just control your character after dream nailing that egg. It's another just team cherry moment. They just don't take away control. Like it's not even early control. It's just control.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna see what kind of climb Hyper pulls out for us here. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Probably one of my favorite parts of the run. It's just a really quick. It's just like the all skills climb, but in the dark. Well, kind of in the dark. You can still see.
Right. And there's no enemies too, which is very nice.
Yeah, just pure movement. And a clean start so far. Just
very well.
Moving right up. Gets the triple pogo. That's one of the hardest and riskiest parts of that.
Oops. Little fumble, but a quick recovery, and nice.
Nice, and hits the cutscene. That's actually way more
tight.
precise than it looks.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a wall jump like he did there. Like you have to get max height on both jumps to get that cutscene. Otherwise, you just fall and have to jump again.
That is really tight. Yeah.
But yeah,
right.
solid
So
climb.
from here,
yeah, there's not much more than just THK and Radiance.
yeah, and I will say when I was watching other runs today, I noticed that Hyper was warming up Radiance, so I'm excited to see what kind of fight. Doesn't Hyper? Didn't you say, Gwonky, Hyper's PB, his Radiance is like 20 seconds faster than yours?
Oh yeah,
Something crazy.
Hyper got a PB the other day recently.
Yeah.
He got a 3-second PB. I think it was 2 days ago or so.
Yeah, it was very recent.
And his Radiance in his PB was 18. Was it 20 seconds faster? I think it was around 20 seconds faster than the Radiance I have in my world record. So
yeah, it's like
so that says a lot about
fights,
Hyper's,
man.
not just Hyper's peak performance, but Hyper's consistency is insane at Radiance. And not to say like I don't want to comms curse. Radiance is the most dieable boss, maybe aside from Felchamp, but it is up there.
Oh yeah.
It is easily the hardest boss in this run. Which is part of what draws so many people to True Ending. The ending for this run
saying Hyper's 15 seconds ahead of PB?
Is he?
Yo?
Wait, really? Oh yeah, his PB is a 106.59, so it does make sense. He hasn't died yet. This would be epic if he PB'd during a run.
King Wolfie making a great point. If he didn't make any mistakes at all, could have been world record pace, honestly. So.
Yeah, that is true. If he didn't make any mistakes ever, like in the whole run.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens here.
But yeah,
the Hollow D spam has begun in chat.
Yeah,
things are about to get hyped.
Hyper can pull out a PB. That would be really, really awesome to see.
Dude, if Hyper pulls out a Schy Day PB, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah. And this is big for Hyper too, because this is their main category. This is pretty much all they grind. So this definitely means a lot to them. They don't really spend much time doing anything else or like in Hollow Knight besides True Ending.
Yeah, Hyper's kind of the only, the biggest name I can think of in the community carrying the torch for this category on 1221 right now.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now, one interesting thing to note too, for people who don't know, is you do get a free, you do get a free heal to full health after THK when you go into Radiance. So
yeah. You do not get free soul though. So a lot of people will scream skip. It's you can stream skip and then just farm soul hits during THK screen before.
Yeah. Oh, this is good.
This is actually bad in True Ending.
Really?
Yeah, because normally he screams much earlier, but he can't scream until that attack's over, basically.
Oh.
So he usually would scream like a couple seconds before that, but he just gets stuck in that attack. It is good in like every other category.
I'm saying. Oh no, he misses the dream now by a split second.
Okay.
That's rough.
Coming up on Radiance, and
he's got full soul.
He is 19 seconds ahead of PB, but PB has a disgusting
God.
Radiance, so he does need a good Radiance to PB.
Yeah, his Radiance PB is inhumanly good, so we'll see if
he has Comsob, and this is 7 seconds off Comsob, but the Radiance Comsob is also arguably the most absurd Comsob in this category. Maybe not the most optimized because it's a boss fight, but it is so incredibly dumb.
Yeah. So Gwonky, what are the important things here in having a good Radiance fight? We don't really have a lot of
just hitting doubles and not spending time doing nothing. In terms of fast Radiance. In terms of good Radiance, don't get hit in the first phase. It's okay if you get hit once. It's not the end of the world.
Oh my, dude, look at the, oh my lord.
Oh my gosh, just amazing movement.
Oh my god.
This is just insane.
Come on, Hyper.
Yeah,
you can get triples, can't you? If you're far enough away.
You can get triples if he teleports after a double or before a double.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, Hyper, no.
This is scary.
Hyper. Please heal twice.
Please,
I'm begging you.
Take 2 heals.
Okay. Yeah.
He can't afford one more hit here, but preferably we get through clean. He doesn't have any soul here, but he can dream though at the start, and let's see how it goes.
Very nice. Gets all the doubles there.
Oh my god! I am
nice dodges.
Nervous.
I'm so nervous. Yeah. Oh my god.
This is a classic. Oh my
lord! He climbed over to Radiance during that attack. Hyper is playing with no fear right now. No fear at all. Yeah.
And he
here's
knew
the climb.
Radiance was dead. He's on the climb right now. I think this could be it.
This could be PB. Oh my gosh. What a climb.
Yeah, this is a PB for Hyper.
GG.
This is truly amazing.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what's
GG's
Hyper's
for
PB?
Hyper.
What's Hyper's PB?
His PB is a 55.
So I think he beat it, yeah? I don't know how much time this cutscene takes.
Yeah, it takes 35 seconds from the last hit, which is kind of obnoxious. But
Jeez.
yeah,
50,
it's a
that's a PB.
5-second PB
Wow.
for Hyper.
I mean, any PB in a no reset marathon setting is insane.
Yeah, that is so cool to see.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Hyper. The PB in honor of Schy. You love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. With a 5-second PB, it looks like.
Yep.
Unbelievable. GG's
insane.
Hyper. We'll see if we're gonna get Hyper in for an interview here. I would love to pick Hyper's brain about some of that stuff because that was a great run. Wow.
Whew. Yeah, that run had me breathing heavily. But honestly, aside from the fact that it's a PB, just even getting a 0 death run in a marathon setting is so difficult, and that is really, really no easy feat.
My mind is just blown right now. Like, the boss fights are insane.
Yeah, that was impressive. You really love to see it.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, that is what draws a lot of people to True Ending is the extremely climactic. Like, it's a combination of both the most technical, like most improvised, and you saw the movement Hyper was doing in the first phase. It was just absurd. Like the way you dodge the attacks if you want to play optimally is just insane. But
yeah, I don't even understand. Hyper, welcome on in.
How are you feeling after that run?
That Radiance sucked.
Yeah.
Listen, you're allowed to be happy for yourself. It's okay.
Yeah. Honestly, really, really impressive that you PB'd in a marathon setting. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I understand. Hyper, welcome on in.
Yeah, I don't know how that run PB'd.
It just means there's plenty of time saved for the next run. One thing I want to ask is, were you looking at your pace, and were you and if you were you nervous at all going later into the run, just thinking about that?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous, but like, I think that's why White Palace was
It just means there's
bad,
plenty of time saved for the next run.
Was that second left atrium backup cycle? Is that your normal backup?
And if you were you nervous at all going?
When I fucked up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I normally just do.
Okay, that was really interesting. I just haven't seen it before. And it was like different than the normal cycle you do from injuries. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, overall, just fantastic run. Do you have anything you'd like to say about it otherwise?
Not really.
Yeah. All right.
Well, for those who have never experienced Hyper before, you got to see some of the best boss fights in the entire community. So we're all super hyped about that.
Oh my gosh, the Hornet 2 was the Hornet 2 a gold?
What?
Yeah.
Was the Hornet 2 a gold?
No.
Oh really? Okay,
it was 2 seconds from my gold.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
that was really
insane.
impressive.
Yeah, I lost like kind of a lot on the way there, but
oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. What was I had some? I was gonna ask some. You know, obviously, Guanqi and I had called out. You didn't really get the best RNG early on in the run, but still clutching out a PB. What does that mean for you that you were able to keep level-headed, stay on task, and still finish out a really, really good run?
Yeah. How was your mental?
I don't really know.
Well,
I
was gonna ask.
I kept fucking up, and I'm like, I don't think this will PB, but it somehow did.
And here we are.
Yeah. Well, thank you for amazing run, Hyper. That was really cool.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. It kind of made me want to consider running True Ending. It's really, it's such a hype run. I love watching it.
I don't have to run low percent to convince you.
That's true. You wouldn't have to run low percent to convince me. Yeah. But yeah. All right, that's all I really had. Hyper, is there anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No.
All right. Well, I'm not sure what's up next. I'm sure whoever's on after us will we'll update. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for keeping Guanky and I company and cheering on Hyper. And enjoy the rest of the event.
Yeah, we have a Path of Pain relay race from Alex, Axel, and Northern coming up. So good luck to them. And yeah, I'll see you guys all later. I really appreciate Herm having me on this event. And again, shout outs to the restreamers and everyone else working behind the scenes for this. This is really, really a lot of work that they're doing. And I really appreciate Herm for organizing this too. We have a Path of Pain relay. It means a lot. Alex, Axel, and Northern.
Right. Take care, everyone.
Yep, take care. See ya.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It is.
This is a. Okay.
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello. I am Sylvie, and this is Flat Falco. Yeah.
And so this is the final segment of Schy Day, and it is what Schy has been known for. Path of Pain individual level. This run, Schy has had plenty of world records and innovation for this IL, and it is definitely one of the most optimized ILs in the entirety of Hollow Knight. So, and all of our runners today have been running Path of Pain for quite a while. So, definitely very excited to see their great movement and really cool cycles.
For sure. And I just wanted to quickly say, Herm was supposed to be commentating here, but she has been working overtime for this event and has gotten very, very sleepy. So I am taking over for Herm, and hopefully I can do her justice. I am very honored to be able to take this commentary spot in her place. So now we should be starting off soon. I believe I'll go ping Northern and see if they're ready.
And so I'll explain something first. The reason that they're using Weaver Song is, I believe, Schy said that their favorite charm is Weaver Song. So now they're gonna be using this charm, even though it's Path of Pain, to like reflect Schy.
All right, I set the run off. After a little bit delay, Northern will be on their way. Do you happen to know how far they're going in until we get the transition?
What do you mean by that?
Because this is a relay race, right? So they're only going to get to a certain point into Path of Pain before we swap out, right?
I think it's each person like completes a run and then they'll go on to, so it's like a relay showcase, I guess.
Makes sense. My misunderstanding.
I think that's what it is.
But it's looking really quick so far. Already past like the first sort of hellish room.
Yeah,
I know most people struggle with that.
That first section of room 1 can be very tricky, especially with Weaver Song. So.
Oh yeah, because the spiders just mess up the floaty dudes.
Yeah.
Wow, this is impressive. Look at him avoid those
for this first part in room 2, it actually doesn't really matter how fast you go, as long as you can make the cycle, but barely missing it. But still on pace to make the saw squeeze coming up next, also known as quick cycle, and that's very clean.
So all these runners must have learned a thing or two from Schy, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, he has definitely like innovated a lot of these strats, especially room 4, where Schy has their own cycle named after them called Cycle.
Cycle.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if Northern is going to be going for it, but I do know that VLS is going to be showcasing that. So
fantastic. Well, if we get to see it once, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest cycles in the entirety of Path of Pain. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is so impressive already. It's like they only started like 2 minutes ago and they're already finished. That's crazy. I am so impressed.
Yeah.
Like, did you notice any like mistakes or anything there? That seemed like almost flawless to me.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a very good run, but they did not go for a thorn skip in room 3, but I definitely don't blame them. It's very inconsistent and finicky. And you lose probably like 20 seconds if you miss it, but for a run without thorn skip, 2:16 is a really great time, and especially with the Weaver Song as well. So. And so up next, we have Axel, who has a PB of 215. And by the way, we haven't introduced ourselves, so I'm Flat Falco. I'm currently 11th on the Path of Pain leaderboards with 208. And yeah, I mean, Path of Pain is really the only thing I ran in Hollow Knight, so.
So I believe if we could get... Oh, perfect. Hi, Northern. Oh, wait, no. They didn't... Wait, never... Sorry. Okay, so Northern was here, but they said, wait one sec. Also, I'm Sylvie. I have run a number of categories in Hollow Knight. I have not run Path of Pain, though, so I'm just here to mostly give color commentary while Falco gives the hard facts. Hopefully we should be getting an interview soon. I believe if that's what they want. Here we go. Hello, Northern.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
How do you feel about that run?
That was a really great run, I gotta say.
I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I was doing like test runs, and I couldn't get past second room without doing a dumb mistake.
Wow.
Also, sorry if my mic quality's bad. I'm on my phone right now.
No, you're good. I gotta ask, what is your PB on Path of Pain?
207.06.
Nice. So this is like a solid run then.
Yeah, I didn't want to go for like any hard skips because I didn't want to like embarrass myself.
Right. I mean, fair enough. It is just a showcase.
Good run.
And in the future, do you plan on like continuing running Path of Pain, or?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go for like a 205 or something like that.
Nice.
Oh damn.
I only started like really running it again like 2 weeks ago, so I think I can do it.
Yeah, I believe in you.
Yeah.
Your movement's already so clean right now.
Thank you.
It was very impressive.
My
And
hands are shaking.
The way you worked around those weavers too was quite nice.
They are so annoying, especially the glowing womb. The weavers themselves, they're not that bad, but glowing womb, room 3, like the first wings mode, it's pain.
I bet. Okay. Anything you would like to comment, Northern?
This was for Schy.
This was for Schy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
It's great having you here.
Okay, I think we're gonna set up for the next running here. We're a bit behind on schedule, so I think the quicker we get through these, the better. Sorry to rush.
All right, that's good. Thank you for having me. Bye.
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 Okay, so we have up next Axel. Let's see, we're gonna get them going.
And we're gonna be starting the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go.
And should be going any minute now.
Of course, there's always a little bit of stream delay.
Yeah.
It's just natural in these restreaming events. We can just happily watch him bully that orb.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Ooh, no, this is some heavy delay. Wait.
Yeah.
It's not normally this bad.
Might be some technical issues going on, but
apparently there's no game audio.
yeah.
But I think that's the least of our worries right now.
But
Okay.
In the meantime, okay, never mind. He's starting.
Okay, I guess it's just more significant delay than we expected. Sorry about that. There won't be game audio for this one. Our apologies. But we'll see Axel do his best in Path of Pain.
And we're heading into room 1, getting here before this before the Saw, which is definitely great to see. And yeah, I won't be surprised if many runners are going for this cycle instead of the Saw squeeze, which saves 2 seconds, but it's really inconsistent. And okay.
That is significant, but probably not worth it unless you're going for some crazy big time. Ooh, that is unfortunate. It's okay. Easy recover though. Oh no! All right, easy recover though. We got this. Yeah, let's go.
I don't think any runners will be going for Thorn Skip. I'm not sure about VLS though. He might go for Thorn Skip, but I don't think most runners will go for Thorn Skip.
Oh, some unfortunate hits by Saji.
Yeah.
But definitely,
I mean, that tunnel in room 2, like this right here, is definitely a very hard tunnel to like get through without getting hit. Because you have to, if you extend your dash too much, you can like dash into the spikes. But if you don't extend it enough, then you can't you're not going to be able to make it over the whole tunnel.
Mm-hmm. That's gosh.
Room 3 looking pretty clean so far.
That was just based.
Uh-huh.
They just zoomed right through it. It looks so smooth.
Yeah.
I totally respect your knowledge, by the way, of like all the little things. Like I could never learn all that.
Thank you.
Oh no! Just missed the saw.
That's really unfortunate.
You got this, Axel. No worries.
We might. Okay, he's healed. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh no!
Oh god.
What do you think's happening there?
Because you messed up like the wall jump by a tiny bit in the beginning.
I see.
So yeah. Oh god. Really shows you how like hard it is to string together a perfect run in Path of Pain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the most difficult platforming challenge in the whole game. So it goes without saying.
Yeah.
Nice. We got it, though.
Okay, nice.
Easy. Good work. Let's get some hype for Axel, guys.
Yeah, GG's. I mean, that was definitely still a very decent run, especially under pressure. And, I know Axel is kind of like a new Path of Pain runner, but still a very great time.
Mm-hmm. All right,
I remember when I started running Path of Pain, I had to like grind for a time like 3:12, but...
Hello, Axel.
Yeah. Hi. That was a great run, by the way.
Give me a second, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi. Okay, now I can hear you. Okay.
Okay,
Hi.
great. Hi. So that was a really good run. You're probably down on yourself getting hit that many times, but still, like under like I can't even do Path of Pain in under like 10 minutes. So like it's still nothing short of an amazing feat.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous, and the second run I got the pretty like no hits, and then I get choked for the rest of the run.
So, yeah. I mean, one hit in anywhere in Path of Pain can definitely like mess you up a lot.
Yeah. Is there anything you would want to practice in the future?
Yeah, I want to learn Thorn Skip. See
nice.
how far can I go.
I hear that's really difficult.
Yeah, and also I'm pretty new in this category, so I have a lot to learn.
Well, you got great things ahead of you, I can tell.
Yeah. Do you have like a goal time in Path of Pain?
Sorry, what?
Oh, do you have a goal in passive pain, like 205 or something?
Maybe 206. It could be
Uh-huh.
an
Yeah,
interesting goal.
that's definitely a good goal, I feel like.
That is respectable for sure.
Thanks.
All right. Do you have any final comments?
No, thank you all of you for the commentate and Herm and all the participating in the event. It's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay. Next up is VLS. I believe that's how you say their name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And VLS is Spanish, and he's not very like confident in his English and his like spoken English, so there would not be an interview this run. But I mean, VLS is definitely a veteran in Path to Pain. I remember a year ago when I started running, he already had like a 214, and a year later he is still grinding Path to Pain. I mean, he is just like probably has one of the highest attempt counters in like any category in the Hollow Knight community. Almost, I believe, 23,000 attempts on Path of Pain, which is
crazy.
insane. And yeah, and he is currently third place with a fresh new PB of 207.71.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see this now.
Yeah. I mean, riding off a hot new PB, I'm sure we'll be seeing a great time.
PB twice in the past 2 days, according to Grifts. That's awesome. I'm hyped. All right, let's go. Nice, so clean. Just zooming through room 1. Oh, going upper route. Interesting. Whoa! that was so
definitely
hype.
a cool looking dash. But actually going upwards didn't really lose that much time at all compared to the other runners because he's still making the same cycle.
Right.
But that was a pretty clean room 1.
Yeah.
And so far so good in room 2.
Oh, this is
let's
so
see
hype.
if yeah. I mean, let's see if he can pull off this quick. Oh my god, and he gets it.
What is
happening? That was a really fast quick cycle.
This is insane. Oh no!
Wow, 101 entrance into room 3. That's fantastic. I mean,
yeah.
But
they unfortunately had that slip up. Damn, like every single movement is just so precise and clean though. I almost can't believe it.
And going for the pogo to instantly dashing in the tunnel, which is very risky. You can fail that extremely easily. And going into room 4, I believe we are going to see a Schy goal. And looking, misses a pogo.
Oh, by the way, I think you're looking at the stream and not
Oh yeah.
No worries.
Okay. All
right. Yeah, unfortunately messing up. This is the cycle, yeah?
Yeah.
So
he's going for the cycle. So he's reloading the room each time after getting hit to ensure that the cycle stays the same every time.
Yeah, I mean, you said this is like the most difficult cycle.
And oh my god, that is really unfortunate.
Man, mad respect.
I mean, just double jumping a fraction of a second too early.
Yeah.
Leads to like getting hit. That's
what a crazy like string of inputs you have to do. It's actually so impressive. To have this down to memory, muscle memory, is actually bonkers.
Oh,
My
wow.
gosh.
That was a really good one.
That is so cool. Oh, man. Good work, VLS. That was fantastic.
Hmm.
A couple mishaps, but even then, like, wow.
Yeah, we got to see the cycle.
Yeah, we got to see the cycle. Let's go. That was
definitely one of the coolest looking cycles in Path of Pain.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was just so hype. Thank you so much, VLS. We will respect your request to not do an interview. But still, thank you so much for that run. That was fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. That was great. Thank you, VLS. And next up, we have a up-and-comer, Alex. I mean, I don't think there's any debate that he's one of the most mechanically skilled Hollow Knight players right now. And even though he has never completed a Path of Pain run, he is getting some insane paces and room, like community some of best. And up next, we have a surprise pre-recorded video. I've never seen it. I'm not sure what it is. So, yeah, definitely very exciting here.
Okay. Oh, seems the video is happening.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Casey, this is a pre-recorded run.
Okay.
I have no idea actually. I don't know if it's like just a like complete run or a ComSob showcase. But yeah, here we go.
The Schy skin is so pretty though. Like the shade cloak dash is like, ooh, very pretty.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. We're just getting the video cropped up right now. Shouldn't be too long.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here we go.
And yeah, here you go.
Starting out strong.
Yeah, making that saw, like these wall jumps are really clean. And oh wow. That's actually a strat that people have adopted from the TAS, that down dash. It's very hard, like harder than Shaiko hard.
Yeah, that's like actually crazy. Step queen.
Yeah. And this is looking a great pace for a quick cycle. Hopefully, and yep, he gets it. That's I mean, this tunnel has the old movement of this tunnel used to be so hard, but recently, like people have been making new strats, and that tunnel has become like significantly easier. And not going for a thorn skip. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, again, I definitely don't blame Alex. Thorn skip, one of the most like inconsistent and finicky tricks in Path of Pain.
Those animation cancels were insane.
Yeah. But oh yeah, and
Oh, that's the
looks like a
Scheichel.
Scheichel again.
Oh!
And
my God.
wow, that is
Oh
clean.
my God.
Beautiful Scheichel.
That is bonkers.
Yeah, that was a great run. I mean, even without thorn skip, that was really, really clean.
Seems to be a 207.
Wow.
Lovely.
That's a crazy time without thorn skip. I mean, that is just insane.
We will always remember.
Yeah. GG's Alex. That was a great run.
That was fantastic. So just so everyone knows, that was a pre-recorded video. That's still such a clean, fantastic run, though.
Yeah.
And I believe we probably should still get Alex in here for an interview if they so wish.
Yeah, sure. But just to put into perspective, if that run had thorn skip, it would have been a 203 or 202, which is number 3 in the entire world. So yeah, I mean that run was crazy. A 207 without thorn skip is just like absolutely insane.
Okay. So Alex is saying that they will not be available for an interview. I believe they're having some internet issues at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, that.
But yeah, do we have anything else lined up, or is that it for today?
I think that is it. Do you have anything that you want to add?
I mean, yes. Shy's passing obviously has affected everyone in ways that is unimaginable to a lot of people. Their life was such a light to us all, but I do hope that someday soon we can all look back and think of only the happy times Shy gave us and just have his memory be a good one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, people from chat, thank you for reminding us. We are also going to be showcasing Shy's personal best in Path of Pain.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would adore to see that.
Yeah, but I mean, Shy's definitely the person who inspired me to run Path of Pain. I remember, like, they were always the first whenever anyone got a PB, the first to, like, congratulate them. And, like, if we choked the run in room 4, they were always the first to be there and, like, encourage us. So, yeah, I'm sure he was a huge mentor to a lot of people.
Yeah. He will be missed. Sorry, they will be missed. Damn it. They will be missed for a long time.
Definitely.
Always love Shy. Yeah, so we are wrapping things up here soon. We are just going to bring up Shy's PB and have a good watch of that, and then maybe say a couple final words, then we'll end things off.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you again to Herm for organizing all this. I know she said that it wouldn't be possible without everyone else, but there's a part of me that doesn't exactly believe that because Herm's pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure she could have done this all by herself.
I mean, the first run was 3 a.m. her time, I believe, so she stayed up a lot just for the sake of this event. So definitely huge props to her. And also just want to thank all the runners in this showcase and all the restreamers, commentators. Thank you guys so much for this event. It's really incredible to see the community come together.
Okay. We've got Schy's PB up right now. Let's get this going. I'm so excited. You can already see like how practiced this is. Like each
Yeah, I mean, this is tens of
Oh.
thousands of resets in the making. And yeah, of course, that task room 1 strat.
You love to see it. It's so hype. Are we gonna see Thorn Warp?
Yeah, I think definitely.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I feel like I know where you're going with that.
Oh, it's so good. Every single movement is just so precise.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
mean,
gonna...
this room 2 is looking very clean.
Oh god, just skirted over that.
And wow, I mean, so basically we can tell that this room 2 was really fast because in the last like horizontal moving saw, they were like moving along with it, which is a very hard like cycle to make. But coming up is the thorn skip, and wow.
Oh,
Single
that's
wing thorn skip.
insane. Actually bonkers.
And I believe coming up here in okay, so that room 3 tunnel as well is actually another strat that they adopted from the task called the Matrix Tunnel. But here we go, Scheichel.
That's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Schy, what a legend.
Yeah, one of the most like influential people for Path to Pain and also Hollow Knight community in general.
Just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Such talent. Such a shame. I won't go there.
Yes.
Yeah, and finish it off 202.28. Definitely like I just cannot describe how good that time is.
That is it is mind-boggling. Genuinely mind-boggling. Such talent.
Mm-hmm.
They will forever be in our hearts. They will forever be missed. Thank you so much for everything you've done, Schy.
Thank you, Schy. I mean, just a really positive person, and I always felt really comfortable around them, just teaching me how to do Path of Pain. And yeah, Schy, thank you. So sad that, they passed, but I think it's great that we can have a moment like this to like everyone in the community coming together to appreciate Schy and all they've done. So I just want to take this moment to thank everyone in the Hollow Knight community for being so positive, and yeah.
Okay, do we have any anything else? Okay. VLS just wanted to thank everyone. And same with Northern. Thank you both for running today, along with every other runner that put their time and dedication into this memorial event. And thank you for everyone for showing up today. This is all for the memory of a beloved community member and dear friend that will live on in our hearts forever. Let's get one more round of blue hearts in the chat as we sign off here.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Schy. Thank you, everyone, for coming here. And I believe there's no more, none other like runs on the schedule, right?
I believe that is it, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be signing off here. And I hope to see you soon
Everyone.
in whatever upcoming event we have going on next.